First at 4, Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins announces his pick for permanent police chief as substitute chief Wayne Smith.
An explosion in South Louisiana led to several injuries. Coming up, how this all happened. Plus, we're just days away from the kickoff of mobile sports betting in Louisiana. Coming up, why the gaming board leaders say this is a big deal.
And temperatures will still be cold for your Thursday morning. However, we're going to try to warm things up by this weekend. I'll have details coming up in your forecast.
Broadcasting live, KSLA News 12 starts now.
Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins has nominated the current substitute police chief, Wayne Smith, to be the city's next police chief. The substitute chief is a 41-year veteran of the Shreveport Police Department. He graduated from Coshada High School in 1977 and went on to graduate from Wiley College with a Bachelor of Science in 1998. He also received his master's at Centenary College in 2007. Smith is married with 3 children. We have team coverage of today's announcement. KSLA News 12's Chandler Watkins is live at Government Plaza, where we learned Chief Smith was named top cop, and our chief investigative reporter, Stacey Cameron, is getting answers at the Shreveport Police Department. Let's check in with Chandler first. What can you tell us?
Destiny, at today's announcement, Chief Smith says that positive progress is being made at the Shreveport Police Department at this time. He thanked officers for stepping up over the last few months and embracing positive change, saying that he's proud to work with them.
Together as a team, we're constantly developing and implementing new strategies that are having a positive effect on the quality of life in our city. Just to name a few, all police officers who are not assigned to the patrol have been dedicating a portion of their work week riding out on patrol. As a result, thousands of extra hours of patrol activities and visibility are being logged by detectives and administrative personnel, including myself.
While at the podium, Chief Smith also laid out several ideas that are currently taking place at the Shreveport Police Department or will be taking place over the next few months. Here are those coming up on KSLA News 12 at 5 and 6. Destiny?
Thanks, Chandler. The decision to choose Wayne Smith as the city's next police chief doesn't come as a surprise to some people, but many did have questions about why no other candidates were interviewed prior to this decision. Stacey, the mayor said that interviews were not necessary. Tell us more about that hiring process.
Well, good afternoon, Destiny, and that's absolutely correct. In tapping Wayne Smith to be the next full-time police chief here in Shreveport, Adrian Perkins said it wasn't mandatory that he interview any of the other 8 qualified candidates, and the mayor legally is 100% correct. Look, under civil service law and the city charter, they're both clear on this issue. The Mayor Perkins is the appointing authority when it comes to choosing a full-time police chief when that job comes open. And once the mayor has the certified list of approved candidates who passed the competitive test according to officials in Baton Rouge, the mayor and the mayor alone can decide how to conduct interviews and who to interview off that qualifying list, if anyone at all. And once Perkins, as the appointing authority, makes his pick, as he did today, then under state law, the city council gets to serve as a check and balance, if you will, either confirming Smith as the full-time chief or rejecting that choice. Now, coming up at 5 and 6, I'll dig deeper into this process and break down while this decision is being applauded in certain circles, it's still being criticized in others. Reporting live at SPD headquarters, I'm Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron.
Coming up at 5, we'll also get your reaction to the mayor's nominee for police chief. If you want to make your voice heard, head over to our Facebook page, and we might show your comment tonight on KSLA News 12 at 5 and 6. While we're off air, though, stay first alert to any breaking or developing news in the Arklatex by downloading our KSLA News 12 app. That's where we'll have more coverage on the new Shreveport police chief. Now, it was very chilly this morning, and then it became a pretty nice day. We had temperatures in the 30s, or we will have those tomorrow. So we're going to send it over to our first alert meteorologist, Grant Roberts. What are we expecting?
Yeah, we're expecting another cold night, Destiny, and it was definitely a cold morning. It's going to be pretty similar to that tomorrow morning, if not slightly warmer. But overall, we'll be right around that freezing mark, if not just below that, for much of the viewing area. So still going to need to get those coats, if not those heavy coats, as you are heading on out the door later this evening, if not by tomorrow morning. And I'll get into full details all about that, plus a warming trend in your first look forecast. My first look Doppler right now, we've got all sunshine, so it's definitely a very beautiful day, and that has helped warm temperatures up just a little bit for this afternoon. Only up to 50 degrees here in Shreveport, as well as Natchitoches and Mansfield, 47 in Marshall and Texarkana, and 48 up in DeQueen. We've got all the sunshine. This is a live look from our John Hovey Toyota Skycam in Bossier City. Not a single cloud to be found, and as we go through this evening, we're going to see those clouds back on the increase, but still no rain. I'll have details about what these clouds are doing for us, plus when those will clear out, coming up in your first look forecast.
We have developing news near the Lake Charles area. An explosion, you can see it here. It was at the Westlake Chemicals South plant, and it rocked the city early this morning. You can see here thick smoke rising from the plant moments after that explosion. Plant officials say 6 people were hurt when an empty tank exploded around 10:45 this morning. None of those injuries are considered life-threatening. And at this hour, the fire is out and all shelter-in-place advisories have been lifted. Bowie County authorities think a gas-powered generator may be to blame for the carbon monoxide poisoning of a teenager. The sheriff's office tells us they got a call about 2 unconscious teens at a home on Twilight Circle. State troopers arrived first and found a 16-year-old girl on the front porch and a 14-year-old boy in the living room. Troopers performed CPR on both teens, but the boy did not survive. He's identified as Micah Franco. Authorities have not released the condition of the girl, but we know she was transferred to a children's hospital in Little Rock. The sheriff's office later learned the home didn't have electricity and the generator was being used to help heat the home. In just a few days, you'll have a new option if you want to bet on sporting events. Online sports betting will go live after years of debate, making gambling more accessible than ever. Rob Mason has more.
Beginning Friday morning at 8 a.m., people who want to bet on sports in Louisiana will be able to do so at the tips of their fingers.
This is a big deal for the state of Louisiana.
Gambling companies that currently operate sports books in the state will also be able to offer online sports gambling for those who download their apps.
With the championship games this weekend and then obviously the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, and so we're really just excited to kick it off in Louisiana.
Sports gambling became legal in Louisiana on Halloween and is now in 22 states. When online gambling begins Friday morning, Louisiana will join 17 other states who offer unprecedented access to gambling on apps that can be downloaded onto mobile phones, iPads, or personal computers.
Compulsive gambling, that's always, no matter if it's a slot machine or it's a table game or whether it's sports betting, there's always issues.
15% of online gambling winnings will go to the state, with 25% of that carved out for early childhood education. A portion of that money will target problem gamblers.
We have a very proactive compulsive gambling program here in Louisiana. And as I said earlier, some of the revenue from sports betting is going to go to help fund that program.
Though operators just got word that they'll be able to offer online gambling in Louisiana in less than 48 hours, it's been an issue that's been debated here for years.
So I was asking strictly to allow us to compete on the same level as the Mississippi Gulf Coast casinos.
The American Gaming Association says Louisiana will make around $50 million a year from sports betting.
I firmly believe there's only a certain amount of discretionary money out there available for gaming. We may take some business away from bookies. We may take some business away from these offshore betting businesses. But I perceive it as being yet just another amenity.
The state has authorized 6 online gambling platforms to participate, with each making their own announcements.
Online sports betting will be allowed in 55 of Louisiana's 64 parishes. 9 parishes voted not to participate. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer plans to retire after serving more than 2 decades on the high court. The 83-year-old is expected to stay on until the end of the term and until Congress confirms his replacement. During his campaign, President Biden vowed to appoint a black female to the bench if a seat opened up on the high court.
I committed that if I'm elected president and have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue.
Biden declined to weigh in on Breyer's possible retirement, saying he'll wait until Breyer himself makes a statement. Now we have a recall alert for you. Hundreds of thousands of small Nissan SUVs are being recalled. The company is recalling more than 700,000 of those cars in the U.S. and in Canada because water can get into wire, and in rare cases that can spark a fire. This recall covers Nissan Rogue SUVs made between the years of 2014 and 2016. Nissan is expecting to have a remedy for this issue by springtime, and if you own an impacted vehicle, you can expect a notification letter in March.